So we ask these questions kasi Professor David, Dr. David was quoted as saying that OCTA will no longer be making public quarantine status recommendations. Just to be clear po, you're saying po that is not exactly what he said.
No, no, I think it was a misquote. No, Professor David was trying to say that yes, we will accommodate all suggestions by different stakeholders as to, let's say, how we present our data, how what more they want us to analyze. We're not the only ones looking at this. There are other research groups also looking at it, and they also want to know our methodology, how we came up with our own criteria for deciding what particular area should be quarantined. And in this last report, we actually suggested the criteria, and then DOH came out with their own criteria, and it was also an extensive criteria, and by and large we're in sync. I also want to emphasize that the position of Spokeshari, well-meaning as it is not the position of government. It's his position as a spokesperson, and it was a personal appeal to us to do a particular, act, no, which is to um, provide privately the quarantine status. But as a group, we've decided, majority of us decided, we should continue providing this recommendation accessible to the public.
Sir, anyway, kasi Harry Roque was asking for OCTA to keep the quarantine recommendations private. Now, yesterday, I think OCTA Research team announced that they will no longer be publicizing or making public quarantine status recommendations. I suppose this means that you find merit in at least some of the recommendations of Harry Roque. Now, with that in mind, how much would your team be disclosing, and what would your team be holding back?
Well, first of all, let me put some clarification. Spock's Harry talked about he appealed to us not to disclose, no, to the public our recommendations for quarantine, for stricter quarantine status, no, for upgrades in quarantine status. I did not hear or even watch his own press briefing on this. I was told it was made in a press briefing by another media person, no, from another station, and I was doing something else and doing my work at the university, and they want a lot of media people want to get comments from me, and so I couldn't understand, first of all, why he would ask us to desist recommendations until I got a call from him. And in fairness, no, it was a good call. He did argue and discuss, no, his own position on the issue, and I listened to him, and I told him quite frankly that I'm not just one person in this group. There are 15 of us in the group, and I need to confer with all of them on this. But we understand the position of the spokesperson on this issue, and the idea of managing communications during this crisis is really a challenge. And but then again, after much discussion until 1 o'clock in the morning in our Viber group, no, messenger group naman pala, we all agreed, no, well, a majority of us agreed that we will continue what we have started. And one thing we emphasized is that, number one, our clientele is the Filipino people. We are accountable to them, and our job here, when we started this, was really to contribute to the collective fight against COVID-19. And as researchers from the University of the Philippines, and later on our colleagues from UST, we all agreed that part of our, or what we can contribute in this common challenge against COVID is we need to provide data. And instead of making any changes, we reaffirmed as a group our commitment to provide accurate, up-to-date data on the state of COVID-19 in the country. And we assure the public that we will provide all these findings and recommendations, if they're necessary, and make sure that they're accessible to both the public and to government.
Professor, just to clarify, so when you say that you will continue what you started, it means literally status quo. Kung ano yung nakasanayan namin, you will announce and you will distribute it to the public. You will post it even before any recommendations from IATF.
Yeah, no, the recommendations are not often, Robbie. We try to come up with a monitor
Hmm.
every 12 to 15 days.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's twice a month now because our cycle now has to be is 1 month. Now we make decisions and changes after a month, but we've decided to provide this twice a month, and recommendations, if needed, will be included, including possibly, if we feel strongly about it as a group, quarantine recommendations also. So we will continue, and we understand the position of the spokesperson, and we
Hmm.
he gave some very good suggestions to improve our own, the way we are going to present our reports, our monitors, and we will we are willing to adjust, no, to those suggestions. But really, the idea of the team deciding on based on a specified scientific criteria, okay, it's recommendations for quarantine, we will keep it public as we have
Okay, so,
always done.
Professor Ray, just to be direct about it, what will change and what will stay the same? Because on the one hand, you said you will continue what you started. On the other hand, you said you will accommodate some of their suggestions. What specifically was the suggestions, and what will change in how you disseminate your information, if any?
Well, the changes will have to do with the methods we're using. We're now using attack rates, and this, by the way, this was a suggestion of the IATF. We will coordinate more closely with all the other epistemic communities, including DOH. Meaning, before we come out, we will also show them our own, what we're seeing. And by the way, we've been doing that very, quite informally, and then yes, we will continue. Well, practically nothing will change, Robbie, but
All
we
right.
will be doing
Hmm.
more consulting, more collaboration, more engagement with
Hmm.
government agencies. Really,
Hmm.
also to fine tune how we're looking at it. See, government is looking at it, and the best eyes are with government in a sense. They get the best data. They have a big team. We understand that. We're a small team, but we're not doing so bad as far as how we're looking at this pandemic, no.
Definitely.
And
Mm.
ours is data that people can verify, validate.
Yes, sir.
It's based on a scientific framework, evidence based. But we believe, our conviction in OCTA is this: number one, our accountability is really with the Filipino people, and that our goal, while we want to work with government in the fight against COVID-19, we feel that there's a education aspect to what we're doing, and the conviction that if citizens are informed, they're empowered. Okay, and empowered in the sense that they'll be able to manage, no, and assess their risk and manage better as individuals and as citizens. Okay, handling this pandemic called COVID-19. So the better informed the citizens are, the more likely they'll be able to assess not just risk but also behave accordingly and contribute to the fight, no, positively to the fight against COVID-19. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
our conviction here. So
Yes, sir.
the
That's sir.
reality is, if we inform them,
Yes,
this
sir.
is good for the public also, aside from government also.
Ano ba naging trigger nun?
Andiyan na si Professor.
Why did he suddenly, no, I just want to know, why did he suddenly issue that appeal from out of nowhere? Did you submit, had you
You
just
know,
submitted a
just for our
recommendation
viewers,
on
no,
quarantine?
it's a mystery for us also. I mean, I think it comes from the belief of the spokesperson, uh, who, the perspective we appreciate, and respect, no, is that the president is apparently influenced by everything that comes out, no, in the media, and uh, and that he wants the president to have, an objective and clear view of the situation, and not be affected by these reports that we make, which we submit in advance, no? Because we're not just doing this for government, we're doing this for the public, and we understand that. But we've been doing this since April. The only difference is now that we're a little more, a lot, we have a more traction now, and a lot of news groups are using our reports. So that's the only difference. But we've always done this. In fact, we've been very
I
unpopular
know.
as far as government is concerned. Not all of our recommendations are actually accepted by government, and that's fine with us. No, the idea there is we're contributing. Our data is there, and we believe that data alone will not be enough. Recommendations have to be made because as citizens, that's how it should be. Our convictions and beliefs should come out, and we're also of the belief that science is not neutral. No, especially in a pandemic like this, which is affecting lives and livelihoods, we have to take a side. And this is where we are as a team, and we would like to continue what we have started. And I guess that's the thing we want to let you guys know.